Good morning, gang. Good morning. Welcome back to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, remember, nothing discussed today is financial advice. It's purely for educational purposes, and it's my view of the market. So now we've got that out of the way, then we can jump straight into the charts. So this week we're going to cover last week's altcoins, do a quick update. And then we're also then going to cover the most requested altcoin, which was XRP, which is pretty obvious as it had a 100% pump to the upside. So yeah, let's talk about that. So first and foremost, let's jump into Litecoin. Okay, so Litecoin last week, I had a very extensive rant about this price action up here and how the whole world, every man and his dog, got uber bullish because we had a daily candle close outside of the range high. So therefore that must mean number go up. Yes, no? People don't understand how ranges work. And this is why people get destroyed. So I was talking, again, if you want to catch that rant, go watch last week's video. You'll probably learn quite a bit, especially if you're new to trading. There was three areas on the chart that I talked about on Litecoin that I was interested in trading. The EQ, the range highs, or the overall highs. They were the only three places I was interested in trading. And at the time, price action was, where's Tuesday? Here. Okay, this candle here. So I was saying here, it's a no trade zone for me, because a long doesn't make sense because you're just longing into resistance. Again, from a high time frame point of view, if you're trading low time frame, then yeah, it would have made sense. But high time frame point of view, longing into range highs doesn't make sense because there's a good chance it's going to turn into resistance again. Okay, it might not. It might not. It could have broken out of this and then continued up to our next area of interest. Okay, but in the end, low time frame, we've got a damn good reaction here. So therefore, you had a trade. Okay, and in the end, that trade, still sat in it right now. And you're looking at roughly, for easy numbers, we call it a 5-hour trade, okay, or 13%, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay, now this is something that we get asked quite a lot. What does it mean? What's a 5-hour trade? Okay, I have actually done a dedicated video on position sizing. I will leave a link to the playlist at the end of this video if you want an in-depth answer. But realistically, all it means is, let's say you've got for easy numbers, let's say you've got a $10,000 trading account, okay? And you're prepared to risk 1% per trade. Okay, so out of that $10,000, you're willing to risk $100, which is 1%. Okay, so therefore, if you entered this trade here and then you got stopped out, you lost $100. Okay, no big deal. That is what it is. It's part of the game. Okay, if you won this trade, which currently right now you're winning this trade, you get a 5R. So that means 5 times your risk. So therefore, if you're risking $100 here, then currently you're sat in profits of $500. Okay, so therefore, once you take profits on that 5-hour trade, then that means your account balance is now 10,500. Okay, this is how trading works. This is how you should be thinking. Okay, you're thinking in risk reward. You're thinking in your position sizing. You're not YOLOing all in at a trade opportunity, because if you get it wrong, and you will get it wrong, no one has a 100% hit rate, then you'd be stopped out of that, and then you'd lose your entire trading balance on one gamble. Okay, that's how the masses play, because that's why the masses lose money. Okay, that's why everyone gets destroyed day in, day out, apart from people that understand how to trade. Okay, so again, if you caught that trade from last week, you sat on a 5-hour trade, happy days. Okay, where would I be looking for on this? Well, if it continues to roll over, then you've got, let's get a line squiggle tool, you've got a key pivot here. Again, this is on the daily, and you got a key pivot here. Okay, so if it does continue to roll down, filling out this whole inefficient move, then that's where you'd be looking to take it. Okay, but either way, great trade if you caught it. Fantastic, well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. Next, ETH. Again, another very simple idea. Now, I've been talking about ETH now for, well, since the early July. When I posted the idea, I posted this green box. First posted it on Twitter, then we talked about it on YouTube. We're talking about, that was the region I was interested in for longs, and this red box was the level I was interested in for shorts. Okay, it's the only two levels. Okay, in between this, unless you're trading low time frame, I had no interest, but high time frame, I had interest on the outside areas. Okay, so if you did catch that long from the lows, great. That'd have been a perfect spot to be paying yourself. Okay, not saying it can't go up, it can still go up. Okay, depends how you trade. For me, I take partial profits. Okay, and then if it does continue up, then I can look to add back in. In the end, I was talking about this liquidity up here above these stops, range highs above these stops, and in the end we got that. perfect entry criteria, and you got the drop to the downside. So that's currently sitting on roughly a 6-hour trade. So once again, if you're risking $100, then you've just made $600 there, and that's assuming it stops there. But if it does continue lower, then we've got obviously key levels of liquidity below us, which will be taking out all these stops from here down to this pivot here. If that then doesn't stop price, then ultimately I'll be looking to come back down to here. Okay, so again, great trade, very simple TA on this one. You didn't need anything more. Okay, I do use a lot more TA than what you can see on screen and what I show you guys on these public videos. Okay, but on this it was very simple. You just needed to know where you were interested in. Okay, so that's ETH update. So again, if you caught that, well played. You know, if you caught both Litecoin and ETH, then you sat very happy for the last week. INJ didn't actually get to the setup that I was looking for. Okay, now the setup that I was looking for at the time, if you watched last week's video, is we had this high, which didn't take out this high, and then this new high now, and this has happened since last week's video, which again didn't take the liquidity. So for me, there's still a lot of resting liquidity up here. So I'd still be very interested in this play, and this is what I was talking about. Come up into this liquidity, come back down, and then you got a short trigger. So for now here, for me, this is no trade. Unless this starts actually breaking down, changing structure, then fair enough. But for me, I'm only interested in the extremities of the range, okay? And this just came back up to the range. You didn't even tap the range high, to be honest. So still sat patiently. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Still sat patiently on INJ. Okay. Yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, if it does start rolling over, fair enough. It's not my trade. Not a problem. MTL. Again, no real update on MTL. Obviously, this was the range, the orange line, the range that we were looking at. I've had the deviation, and I was saying the only areas on the chart I would be interested in trading this is if we come back down towards range lows and don't break range lows, and then you get that structure change to the upside, then I'd be interested in taking some longs. Okay, if it doesn't give me this and it just starts to roll over and starts coming back into this consolidation, then I'm not interested. Okay, just like to the upside, I'd be interested in the outer extremities of the range. The value area high ties up with the overall range high for me. So if we get a reaction up there, great, I'll take the trade. If not, no worries. Okay, if it does break out of here, then looking at these key levels where the liquidity is sat resting above. Okay, but again, like I discussed last week, it's a very low liquidity shitcoin, altcoin, whatever you want to call it. It's very low liquidity, which you can tell by these wicks. Okay, super wicky price action. This means someone's putting in a leveraged order or a spot order, spiking price up, and then it's quickly getting sold into. Okay, because there's just no liquidity in this coin. So yeah, it's not really of interest to me. Sol, again, great trade if you caught it. Personally, I didn't take this one. It was quite entertaining on this because obviously when the market was pumping last week, obviously XRP was pumping, everything was pumping on the Friday. Everyone was talking about the same level, which was this key pivot here. Now I agree, that's an important pivot, around $38. I do agree, but people ignore point of controls. Never ignore a point of control. Okay, especially a point of control over a macro consolidation like this. The whole top range, we've got the point of control. Big volume cluster. I mean, all you have to do is look at the volume profile. Look, big volume cluster here, high volume node, which is around $43. The point of control, and then we've got a slightly smaller one just below, which is roughly around 28. Okay, so everyone's waiting for this liquidity up here, and in the end it just came smack bang into the point of control and turned round. Okay, so this is what I was talking about at the time, taking out these highs into the point of control, coming back down to these range lows of the top range, and then seeing what happens here. Okay, so this is a key area for me now. Okay, zoom into the 4-hour chart. It's a key area. If this starts to hold and starts to get a good structure change to the upside, and every time it takes out a key high doesn't get a significant pullback, then you're now trading the top part of the range. Okay, was this a breakthrough and a retest? That's the question. If it was, okay, and you get this structure change again, it's all about patience. You don't have to be aping in. Just wait until you see that structure change. Bear in mind, I'm looking at this on a 4-hour chart right now. Then if you get that, then you got a long trigger. Okay, if you get that long trigger, once again, you're coming back up to your local range highs, which is that point of control again, these highs. okay? So effectively you'd be trading this portion of the charts. If this does start to roll over and coming back down, okay, then you've got your short trigger, assuming that you didn't short from higher up, which again would have been a perfectly valid trade because it was a damn good reaction. Okay, if you get that, then you're back to trading this consolidation here. Okay, this consolidation. Okay, trade that range until it breaks. It's just simple. It's just level to level. Okay, but once again, on a bullish pump, the whole market was going crazy. The FOMO on Friday was unreal. It was getting a little bit out of hand. I must say, people was actually tweeting saying, I am euphoric, which that happens when price is at a peak. And lo and behold, everything got a nice, nasty rejection. Okay, so yeah, just level to level. So that's all. So that's all I'll be interested in right now. If it does get higher, then yes, I'll be looking at that 38 level. Okay, but you can't ignore that point of control, especially on the first return to a naked point of control. Okay, once this point of control is created, then price pushes away from it and breaks down. Upon returning to that point of control, that's now a naked point of control. So upon returning to it, then you'd be looking for a reaction. Doesn't have to give one, but more often than not, it will. Okay, again, it's just probabilities. And finally, XRP. Okay, let's zoom out into XRP. Let's come on log. There we go. Let's go into the daily chart and zoom in. Right, okay, so before we get into XRP, okay, first and foremost, today's video sponsor is BingX. There's a link down in the description. If you do use our link, then you can get access to over $5,000 worth of deposit and trading related bonuses. Now the beauty of BingX is it's a non-KYC exchange. I can't speak. So obviously I know some of you guys can't trade on KYC platforms like Bybit because of the restrictions in your own country, but BingX, non-KYC exchange, so you can trade no matter where you are. And the beauty of these guys is you can not only trade crypto, but you can also trade FX, commodities, stock indices, etc. So yeah, if you want a non-KYC exchange to trade on, then check out BingX, and thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. Right, next, let's jump in. So XRP. So this was a significant pump to the upside last week, and again this was on the Friday. Okay, Friday night, 98% pump to the upside, huge. It's quite entertaining because at the top you got all the influencers posting about how they perfectly bought the bottom and yada yada yada, and basically just clout chasing from XRP bag holders. Because it's always fun to do. You can see all the kids on TikTok doing it, which is quite entertaining. Yeah, it was funny. Everyone apparently was perfectly right on this trade, except for one of the Moonboy influencers, Moon Carl, who placed a long roughly in this region up here, and also got his followers to FOMO in. This was on the route up, and lo and behold, him and his followers are now greatly underwater, and even admitted on that video when he recorded it that he had FOMO and he didn't want to miss out, so he waited till price had pumped 70% before deciding to get involved in a trade. But yeah, that's the difference between a moon boy and a trader. They ain't got a clue what they're doing. But fortunately, all his followers lost money, but the trading fees paid his commission in his affiliate wages, so it's all good. Right, where did we start? Well, I'm not a trend line trader, but it was quite entertaining, the fact that this is the trend line that ended up stopping price action in the end. Okay, so obviously XRP, for those that don't know, created a high in January 18, couldn't do the same in the last bull market, and we've come into that same trend line. Okay, now that same trend line coincides with these key highs here, which is the last major key highs before the last breakdown that we had. Okay, so therefore resting liquidity up here. Anyone that's longing would have been targeting this zone. Anyone that was short would have had stops above this zone. So perfect confluence there. If you did take that short, you're a brave man or woman. Because I won't look to short an absolute peak at top of a FOMO candle, because likelihood is you were probably shorting all the way up here, which is just adding fuel to the fire to push it up. Okay, so it's not what I do. I prefer to see the weakness. Okay, in the end it did get a decent pullback though, so if you did catch it, then well played, but questionable trade in my opinion. Okay, not only that, we also had confluence by using Fibonacci from this key high, which was the 2021 high, to the low. You also had the 382 fib, more confluence, 3 points of confluence on this. The BTC pair also had nice confluence, and obviously that's the reason for the pullback. Okay, so what happens now? Okay, what happens now? Well, we're broken out this range on a very thin move. Okay, very thin move, just one candle to the upside. Now again, similar to what I said about Litecoin. Okay, so with Litecoin, got a daily close above the range. Does that mean it's up only season just because of bullish news and all that good stuff? No, it doesn't. Because if XRP holders really want this to go up, okay, and you finally want to get back to your entries where you were buying tops, okay, or let's say you were still holding from all the way back in 2018 because there's something fundamentally wrong with you, then what you want to see is you want to see a healthy uptrend. So what you want to see is you either want to see a consolidation here, maybe a pullback consolidation, and then you want price to rise, then to take out these highs. That's ideally what you'd want to see. Okay, so where it happens, we don't know. Okay, all we know that this is very thin. Okay, so if it does start to roll over, then if you're bullish, you'd be looking for a reaction back at these range highs. Okay, if you do come back here, you get that reaction to the upside, great, you got yourself a long trigger. Okay, then you've had consolidation, breakout, back test of consolidation, then you can look for those higher prices. Okay, now once this trend line breaks, now again, I'm not a trend line trader, but once this trend line breaks, people will start to go ham and really FOMO in. Okay, but does that mean, again, is it going to go up in a straight line? No, it's not. It's going to go to your next key levels. Okay, so your next key levels, where your next key levels? Well, you got a key level there. Again, I'm looking at this on the daily chart because we're talking high time frame here. Okay, you got one here, but more realistically, you got this one here. Okay, you start to get above that, then you start to get into these clusters. Okay, they're all levels that you should be aware of because each one of these levels, likely you're going to experience some form of pullback. Okay, so that's what you'd be looking to see. So as I said, if you are bullish on the asset and you want it to go up, regardless of what you believe in or whatever, again, I trade the charts, I don't give a crap what the coin does or what Ripple does or anything. Okay, ideally you want to see a healthy pullback, you want to see a consolidation, and then you want to see a change in structure to the upside. That's what you want to see. Okay, if this starts going up again in a straight line without any sort of consolidation, then that to me is an even weaker move. Okay, it might look strong in the short term and it might pump, but the pullback is going to be a lot worse. Okay, so you want to see ranging behavior, whatever it is. So whether it's down here would be the ideal, in my opinion, not to get back under this old range. Okay, or even just where we are right now. If you start to see a ranging behavior, maybe a liquidity spike to the downside, and then change the structure to the upside, then you got a long. Okay, so right here is kind of, for me, it's no man's zone. I want to see what the outcome is first. Okay, you start getting above this, as I said, then you're looking at these higher levels. Start to get back into this range, then you know you're going to see the doom and gloom posting and everything else. Okay, then you got to see if it gets back into value, which is roughly around 45-46 cents. If it does, EQ, point of control, range low. Okay, it's just level to level. Again, I don't care what the news is, just trading the chart. So if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to hit that like button. If you are subscribed, well done. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit that bell notification button, because if you hit that bell notification button, then you caught some really nice trades from last week's videos. So yeah, time sensitive content. Right, until next time, gang, that'll do. As you were. Bye bye.